Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today, on the table in front of us is kind of a collection update. You see, I love CKF, or Custom Knife Factory knives. I've had, 4 or 5, 6 of them. I have 3 in the collection now, which I will be sharing with you as we go forward. But I wanted to start with this. This is the Peace Duke, and this is a really interesting knife because it shouldn't be something I love because it's small, but I do. And that's always cool when that happens. It is a really interesting piece, but a lot of the CKF knives, are very interesting in design. This one is no different. So what is it? Well, to me, this is what the CRKT Pilar could have been. It is a small knife where you make good use of the forward finger choil to really get a grip on it, but it is comfortable in hand. It is, well, it is a monster in its own small way. It is M390 running on bearings. It is titanium with this really fascinating inlay. I love this. It has a titanium backspacer and a really useful pocket clip. Some people in the few reviews that I found for this complain because there's not a lot of ramp down here to get it in and out of the pocket, but all you gotta do is lift that a little bit and it slips right into the pocket, no problem. I mentioned that it's comfortable. Now, for me, if I just grip in the handle, as you can see, this is basically a 3-finger knife. But because of the shape here, even with 3 fingers, there is no movement. This thing locks right into my hand. But if we come forward to this really useful choil, then, man, this thing is just married to my hand, and that is a really excellent feature. I also think it's really attractive in its own funky way. This may not be the knife for everyone, but for my collection and what I'm trying to do these days, what I'm interested in, it absolutely spoke to me. Now, can you get one of these? Well, maybe. They only make them in very small numbers. That is CKF's thing. This was number 224 of, I think, 250. So they are hard to find. But if you're interested, they are out there. They're about $300, which is a fair amount of money, to be sure, but you can get them for a little less than that if you look around. I love the compound grind. Oops, there we go, on this thing. Look at that. That is amazing. It is nice and thick back here. It is very strong back here. And up here at the tip, for draw cuts, it is very, very slicey. It is a great combination of strength and refined cutting that I really, really enjoy. The handle itself is a really stone-washed out dark gray titanium, which is very nice. It shows next to no wear. As I mentioned, the blade is M390, and it is really usefully designed with this long belly and a little bit of a tip here for poking into stuff. But this is not a stabby knife. I like it because it's different. I like it because it's unique. I love it because even though it is a small knife, it fits my big old hand very, very well. So what do you get? Well, let's line her up. You get 1, 2, and 3/4, almost, a little over 2 3/4 of cutting surface on 3 inches of M390. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 1/4 inches long. The grip area, if we include the choil, is 1, 2, 3, 4 inches without the choil. Past the flipper, you are looking at 1, 2, 3 full inches of grip area. And of course, it doesn't just disappear, it does round up. So your pinky does have a little bit of a place to land. The action on this thing, it is running on ceramic bearings, is very smooth, just very, very smooth. The blade is a little short, which means, and it's not very heavy, which means it doesn't exactly drop shut, but with a little bit of wiggle, it does fall right back to where you want it. There is only one form of deployment, which is not my favorite thing in the world. You know that. It'd be nice if there were some thumb studs. But the flipper works every time. And the detent is very, very good. This is a great knife. I'm really glad I added it to the collection. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to look at. It's fun to carry. And it is fun to use, which makes, well, that's what it should be, right? I think so. Let's take some measurements just so we kind of know what we're talking about from that perspective. If we move this to millimeters, let's take a look at the blade stock. We are just at, just at 4 millimeters. Oh, 3.9. Well, that's really interesting. Let's go there. There we go. 3.96 millimeters, so just under 4 millimeters of M390. If we go to inches for the handle, if we pick a nice thick spot on the handle, we are just over a 1/2 inch thick in the handle, which is really very nice. It makes for a really good grip. The real nice part, for me at least, is that the handle itself, if we line it up, right, is just shy of 1.5 inches this way, which means that's where you get all that really good grip from. Like I said, I'm more comfortable using the choil when I hold it, but if I'm not, if I want to stay away from that, and there is really nothing interfering with the cutting path back here, which is very nice, 3.5 finger grip, because of how tall this is, it just locks into place. Now, it is not an overtly light knife. Let's take a look at the weight. There is milling on the inside of both of these scales. Of course, this has the knockout for this inlay. But even underneath, there is milling. There is a lot of work that went into this thing. All right, let's do the weight. We are looking at 5.3 ounces. That is a lot for a 7.5 inch knife, but because it really is, well, it's almost a rectangle, right? I mean, it's really thick this way, and that's where most of that comes from. Let's try it one more time. Yep, 5.3 ounces. Let's do some size comparisons up against known knives so you guys get a better idea of what I am talking about. Let's put that here. Here it is against the Benchmade Bug Out, which is my small knife, and you can see that it is essentially the same length as the Bug Out. But when you do it, you know, I mean, even though they are virtually the same length, there is much, much more knife here with the Peace Duke. It is just a bigger knife than that. Let's put it up against the PM3, or in this case, the PM3 Lightweight. This is a knife that a lot of people have experienced. And again, they are very similar in dimension. You get more blade, of course, on the Peace Duke, but you give up a little handle for that. So this is a very, for a lot of people, normative sized, EDC sized knife. But it is a just beautiful, oh, sorry, I bumped the camera. Again, that apparently is a thing I do now. I'm working on it, guys. I don't know what's going on there. I really enjoy this thing. When I need a smaller knife, this way in particular, this is one of the first things that I reach for. I have a few other CKF knives. I have had more than this, but I have sold a few, and I regret that in some ways. But the ones that I really love, I tend to keep. And this thing has fallen quickly into one of my sort of favorite knife categories, which is weird knives that work very well. And it does. So I'm going to hang on to this. I hope you've enjoyed looking at it. I know this is kind of a short look at it, but... Oh, final question is, do I recommend these? Well, yeah. CKF makes good knives. A lot of their parts, apparently the CNC stuff is done in China. They are a Russian company that uses Chinese parts, but they do really interesting, thoughtful, and unique designs that way, and they end up making knives where the fit and finish is just out of this world. They are expensive. I'm not going to lie about that. So on that point, it is hard to recommend them because I know a lot of people don't spend the kind of money that I do on knives. But if you're interested, check out Custom Knife Factory. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And on that note, we're going to close. This is the CKF Peace Duke. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. You are my amazing audience. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this or any of the knives you see on the channel, feel free to ask down in the comments below. Please like the video, the little thumbs up sign down below on your way out. We'll see you next time.